where you are. The meaning behind the slogan is that we meet the community where they are, on their journey towards holistic health, a plant-based lifestyle, and veganism, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. We do this through people, food, events, and culture. Our 6 pillars are earth, eating, education, empowerment, enlightenment, and events. We are Black Veg Society.
We are live. Thank you for tuning in. Let me help you and a loved one or friend find your vegan soul through food, people, events, and culture. Did you know that Africa is going vegan? Yes, Mother Africa is thriving in the movement, and our guest today is going to tell us all about it. Welcome, Virginia Ruguru of Thrive Philanthropy, Thrive Africa. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine, Naijha. I'm glad to be here and ready.
Oh, I am so ready. Vegan advocacy in Africa. Please tell us more. What is going on in the motherland?
Good. Now, in Africa, vegan advocacy is not just about promoting a modern trend. It is about reconnecting with our rich culinary heritage and embracing sustainable plant-based habits. Traditionally, plant-based diets have been deeply ingrained in African cultures, with a rich diversity of fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes, forming the cornerstone of many traditional meals. However, perception of veganism in Africa can vary. While some view it as a diaspora-driven Western import, it is important to recognize that plant-based diets have long been part of Africa's culinary heritage. Historically, most Africans rarely consumed meat, instead relying on nutritious plant-based foods for sustenance. Unfortunately, our dietary trends in Africa have been changing. And again, this has been because of influence. And every time we say it's influence from the West. Now, this transition is concerning, and it can lead actually to health and environmental challenges, which we shall talk later on. But at Thrive Philanthropy, we have observed these dietary shifts and recognize the importance of promoting sustainable plant-based eating habits. Our work in Africa began while we were still a former organization in 2020, when we observed a few grant applications from this region of Africa. And so we launched, Thrive Philanthropy launched an African movement building project to expand interest in vegan advocacy and provide grant opportunities. Through this movement, we have seen the vegan movement grow in the region, highlighting the potential for positive change.
I love it. I'm so excited because, you know, here sometimes in the Americas, we have the African Americans that assume that this is a white thing. However, on the motherland, as we know, is with the natural resources, you know, everything comes out of Africa, the grains, legumes, all of that, natural resources. Like, you've been doing this, you've been eating this way. This is nothing new. We're just going back to our roots. Virginia, tell me, how did you get involved with this type of vegan advocacy work? Talk about it. And what's the climate out there right now in Africa around the movement? How receptive is it in terms of ethical, climate, and a health perspective?
Now, my involvement in vegan movement began during my time with an NGO called the Kenya Energy and Environment Organization, KENGO. And by the way, if you've heard about Wangari Maathai and some environmentalists were the first people who started this organization. So immediately after university, I joined this organization and I began popularizing indigenous plant-based food systems or indigenous vegetables. Now, it was not a coincidence because it is a passion that I held and I still hold. At that time, I was experiencing health issues related to consuming animal products. But it was until my grandmother then, who was so conversant with plant-based medicinal purposes, who introduced me and encouraged me to switch to a plant-based diet. And let me tell you perhaps where this story of allergy with animal food products could have started. Now, my father then, having grown up during the colonial period, really wanted, when he was a young man, he felt, when I have my own home, I want my children to enjoy the kind of Western life that I have been seeing with the white settlers then before Kenya got independence. So when my father got us, and as his children, he thought giving us meat was something affluent. You see, he felt it is development in quotes. So every meal that was eaten in our house, be it beans, had to have meat. Legumes. In fact, people knew in that house there, you go to that house where Virginia comes from, you will get meat in the food. So it was kind of an affluent or belief that when you eat meat, you're well up in quotes. And therefore, because I think of eating too much meat, when I reached my adult years, I began seeing these allergic reactions in me when I take animal-based food products. Now, I go back to Kengo. So when I entered Kengo and there was an opportunity for popularizing indigenous vegetables in Kenya, I jumped into this project and we began educating women on the benefits, nutrition benefits, medicinal benefits. So that is how my journey began. And my story is a testament to what is happening, especially in Africa, the growing demands for meat products in Africa. And according to Food and Agriculture Organization, the number of animals raised and killed for food in our continent is rising. What is the repercussion of this? Now, this trend has led to the rise of factory farming demands in Africa. Now, and with factory farming, there are emerging issues related to animal welfare, for example. And in developing countries, and Africa is not left behind, the antimicrobial residues and how they are used. You know, we know they are supposed to be used for the growth of animals and maybe, but how are they being used? They are being used sometimes indiscriminately and not in the right way. And so with this use of antimicrobials, it has its potentials to health implications, including allergies, mutagenicity, and carcinogenicity, what in Africa we are calling lifestyle diseases. All right? So emerging issues in Africa, such as increased trends of meat consumption, and I have said it has led to factory farming, and the use of antimicrobials pose significant challenges to both human health and animal welfare. And I want to quote a report currently given by, actually last year in 2023, by an organization called AMREF in Kenya. Now, in this report, it talks about a recent study by the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, revealing the contamination of raw pork and poultry meat in supermarket, that it is a cause for concern. So the research conducted by experts, this research was conducted by experts from the World Animal Protection Center for Microbiology Research and KEMRI, and it indicates that consuming meat poses a potential risk of bacterial contamination and the spread of foodborne illnesses. I've also talked about lifestyle diseases. What about the environmental? And I want to talk about the environmental effects of livestock production, including deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions. This further excavates, it increases these concerns. Now, again, ethical considerations surrounding the treatment of animals and the impact on human health underscores the importance of promoting sustainable plant-based alternatives. In closing this part of the question, as we reflect on the repercussions of meat consumptions in Africa and the emerging issues surrounding it, it becomes evident that the crux of the matter lies in the level of awareness amongst the majority. Who are the majorities? The people of Africa. It is not merely about putting food on the table. It is about understanding the processes behind food formation. So this awareness is very important. That is precisely why Thrive Philanthropy, my organization where I'm coming from, is committed to increasing awareness and understanding through its mission to bolster the global vegan and food justice movement, while simultaneously helping Africa food justice advocates to enhance the gospel of reducing the impact of industrial animal agriculture. As we continue to address these challenges, it is crucial to raise then awareness about the benefits of plant-based diets, advocate for food security regulations, and support initiatives that promote sustainable agriculture and ethical food production practices in Africa. I hope I've answered the question.
Oh, yes, you did in major detail. And we so appreciate it. We got to talk about Thrive Philanthropy now. We mentioned it, and we've been saying Thrive Africa. I want to share the website, and let's go through some of the information on the website and what the organization is doing. And I have become a board member. So that's great news also. I appreciate it. So here we have the website, thrivephilanthropy.org, and talk about some of the things that are going on as it pertains to the Thrive Africa project. What are you all doing there?
So, as you can see there in the website, Thrive Philanthropy has made significant strides. To date, Thrive Philanthropy has supported the growth of the vegan movement in 1 out of 3 countries worldwide, with a notable focus on Africa. The work of Thrive Philanthropy is to amplify vegan food justice movement and accelerate alternatives to industrial animal agriculture. Now, through its Thrive Africa department, and Thrive Africa is a department within Thrive Philanthropy, and through this department, Thrive Philanthropy is actively amplifying the vegan food justice movement across the continent. Under the Thrive Africa program, vegan advocates are being empowered, and that's why we are calling it Thrive Africa Accelerator, which is the 4th this year, 2024. Now, Thrive Africa Accelerator equips social justice leaders with skills to become more effective vegan advocates for public health, animals, and the environment. And we have various programs or initiatives. And some of these are the Africa Vegan Women Initiative, Africa Vegan Restaurant Week, and Africa Vegan School Lunch Campaign. Thrive Africa is catalyzing change and fostering a more sustainable future for Africa and its people. Therefore, Thrive Africa, the mission actually, it amplifies the plant-based food system movement across Africa by bolstering advocates that aim to reduce industrial animal agriculture and create healthy, sustainable, locally relevant vegan food opportunities.
Oh my God. Just looking at everything here that you're working on with the accelerator and the Africa Vegan Restaurant Week, which we'll get into because, right here in Maryland, where I'm based, we've been doing Maryland Vegan Restaurant Week since 2017, twice a year in the spring and the summer. So I know how important that is. And then the fact that you have the Africa Vegan Women's Initiative, which I totally understand the importance of having that, but you can elaborate on that as well. Why are each of these so important? Like, why those projects?
Why those projects, I've said basically it's capacity building and boosting vegan advocates in Africa. And I want to give an example of the Africa Vegan Restaurant Week that I've just mentioned. Now, and the importance. The Africa Vegan Restaurant Week is the first of its kind in Africa. And it is an Africa-wide campaign, and it's going to be a week-long celebration organized by activists and organizations from all across Africa. And then after there are various activities in the Africa Vegan Restaurant Week, and we are having webinars right now that we are conducting. And our participants from Africa are attending these webinars, and actually there are 5, and after the 5th webinar, they will be invited to apply for a grant. Now, this year, we have about 30 African countries participating. Wow. And yes, and advocates from all over Africa are participating and have registered for the Africa Vegan Restaurant Week. I have said there are 5 webinars, and currently we are in the 3rd webinar. Next week, we are going to have our 4th one. So in these webinars, I talked about capacity building. So we are taking the participants through the steps of creating an effective campaign. And I said that after this webinar, they will have an opportunity to apply for a grant. And just to say that our grants are very, very competitive. I wish we can give everybody. And that is why they are very, very competitive. And there is a criteria to follow. That in a nutshell is about the Africa Vegan Restaurant Week.
I see some of the folks here in Africa. Hello, guys. Nice to be here. Thank you for tuning in. Cameroon is in the house. Love it, love it, love it. Happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in. Cuisines. Let's talk about that. Let me stop sharing this here, and let's talk about the African cuisines. Give me one, because I'm curious. Do you personally, Virginia, specialize in certain culinary plant-based African cuisines in Kenya? Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. Yes, I specialize in cooking, let's say, millet porridge. And this is what I take for breakfast. By the way, I don't take tea. This is what I take for breakfast because it is a delightful breakfast option. Millet, it is made with millet. And millet is very rich in fiber. And it weights, yes, and it weights in weight management and digestion. So millet porridge holds a special place as a beloved breakfast starter across Kenya and even much of Africa. Another favorite of mine in Africa cuisine is mashed potatoes.
Oh,
and if I may call the name mashed potatoes, mokimo, that's Kenya. It might be known in some other towns elsewhere in Africa, but it's paired, with indigenous green leaves. Many of the leaves we use in the dish have herbal properties. For instance, I don't know whether you know of the stinging nettle. The stinging nettle is known to be beneficial for conditions like asthma, arthritis, and gout.
What?
So when preparing gout, yes.
Good for gout. Yes, yeah, we need that one. We need that one.
Yes. So when preparing mashed potatoes, I incorporate various vegetables. I've just talked about some. Like, I don't know what you call it, amaranthus. We call it terere. And spider plant, and African nightshade, and so on. Pumpkin leaves. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's just an example of some of the cuisines that I specialize in and I love.
Virginia, what are we asking the viewers here? My whole purpose for bringing you on was just to make sure everyone was aware that there is vegan advocacy taking place on the continent in Africa in several countries, and this amazing organization, Thrive Philanthropy, has incorporated a Thrive Africa project where folks can see the different projects that you have underneath Thrive Africa, which is amazing. And you've been doing this for 4 years, if I understand correctly, the
Yes.
accelerator programs. How? What is the ask of it? What's the message that you want to send here to the Americas or anyone that's listening?
Now, the ask is this. You had me mention that we give grants to our participants and they are very competitive. So the ask here is, if anybody listening out there can give donations, can support Thrive Africa through donations, we would gladly appreciate. Another ask is, if you're an African participant and you have not registered for the Africa Vegan Restaurant, for the accelerator, please just go to our website, Thrive Philanthropy, and all the details are there. Just go there and register. And also, another ask, please, if you're hearing about us and Thrive Philanthropy and what we are doing, please just pass a word to your friend. Refer them to us so that they get to know us and partner with us so that we can help popularize or amplify the vegan movement to the world, to the wide African continent. So you can visit our website, and Naijha has shown our website. Just visit us, or you can email. She will put the details there, but you can email to africa@thrivephilanthropy.org.
Thank you so much, Virginia. Yes, I will be putting the Thrive Africa, the Thrive Philanthropy website in the comments, and folks can go. And it's also on the ticker. So if you go to thrivephilanthropy.org, thrivephilanthropy.org, you can find out more about the amazing work that's taking place through the organization, because my understanding is they will be branching out to Latin America, and even Asia, if I'm not mistaken. So I know there's a lot of goals and objectives coming down the pike, but this is so wonderful. I hope sometime in the future I can get out there and see how everything is going with the weeks and the accelerator and the members and all that other stuff. So I'm so glad to be on board. As a board member, I'm looking forward to all the work that needs to be done in pushing the organization forward. Thank you so much again, Virginia. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please support thrivephilanthropy.org. Share, like. You are tuning in to Naijha Speaks, naijhaspeaks.com. Like, share, comment. Follow me personally on Instagram at Naijha Speaks _vegan soul, and on Facebook at Naijha Speaks. Naijha Speaks is a project of the Black Veg Society. So you can see us at blackvegsociety.org. We are meeting people where they are on their holistic health, vegan, and plant-based journey. Whatever you decide to do today, please be well, be safe, and go vegan. All right. Have a good one.